Welcome back to another segment of Credit and Magic 36. And I'm going to recover what I've covered in the two previous videos briefly and then go into more information. Let me throw this disclaimer out there. This is for educational and recreational purposes only, just sharing information that you can test and experiment with. I wouldn't take anybody's word for anything. I'm not telling you to do anything. Just take the information and apply what applies to you and just test it, experiment with it, and see what happens for you because everyone's situation is a separate, special, unique situation. No one knows your story like you know your story. That's why I strongly suggest that you learn this information and you test it and experiment with it to see what type of results you can deliver for yourself. No one knows your story like you. All right. So previously in the videos, I covered um, it is going to take time because you've been uneducated. You haven't practiced the best habits and behaviors as it relates to money and credit, understanding what credit is. So therefore, you need to be willing to invest about 9 months in yourself to educate yourself, uh, get a new reinvigorated mindset and approach to your relationship with money, and getting information of what credit is, what it costs, what are the positive consequences, what are the negative consequences if you do this or that. Um, and this will just get you on your path to recovery. Uh, so I just stated that, you know, legally and lawfully, you can dispute anything that you feel is an error on your report. So you can dispute any inaccuracy with any problem, without any problem. And Congress has set up consumer laws that can aid and assist you in getting negative marks and negative items removed from your credit profile, and this is very important. Some of the things that I covered: 15 USC 1681 S2. It's where the consumer reporting agencies cannot deliberately report information that they know is inaccurate and incomplete, or that they have reasonable doubt or believe that it could be inaccurate. They're not supposed to report that information. Um, all credit profiles have mistakes, errors, mishaps on them. It's just getting down to the fine print, having your report matched up side by side, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and just highlighting the discrepancies and just beginning your dispute process, whatnot. So that's 1681 S2. So they can't knowingly just report inaccurate information. All right. All right. Then I also covered permissible purpose, 15 USC 1681B, which states that there's two stipulations. Um, the consumer reporting agency is supposed to have your written instruction or uh, electronic communication with you before they furnish information or furnish the account. And then the second stipulation is that if there's a court order, jurisdiction provided by a judge from a court, then they can furnish the information um, and furnish the account. If they don't have one or the other or both, they're not supposed to furnish your information. They're not supposed to furnish the account because your non-public private information is private. It's not a public idea. So they're violating your consumer rights if they furnish information, if they furnish an account without your consent. That means that you have to be notified and you have to give them written instructions for them to furnish the information or furnish the account. Then I went into kind of relates to this is 15 USC 6801. It talks about confidentiality and privacy and security. So if they do anything without adequate notice, that means notifying you, and then they don't have your written instruction, your consent, your permission, they're not supposed to furnish the information. They're not supposed to furnish the account. So that's a breach of contract. That's a violation of your consumer right. So you can get the negative mark or negative item removed because of that law too. So that was 15 USC 6801. Then I went to the humdinger, 15 USC 6802. This is disclosures and opt out. Usually you only receive one disclosure, but by law you're supposed to receive all three disclosures, at least three disclosures. Now car dealerships, they even have more, but let's just focus on the three because you always only get one, right? And so they automatically opt you in and they report your information, right? Without your consent, without your permission, without your written instruction, without electronic communication from you. That's a violation of your consumer rights. So you can have negative marks, negative items, negative accounts, derogatory accounts removed because of this. So this is why I'm encouraging you and admonishing you to get in here and learn your consumer rights and the laws that support your consumer rights so that you can begin to remove anything that's negative on your consumer profile, because this is your reputation on paper. This is how you're viewed. This is how you're looked at. This is how people perceive you. This is how they see you. This is how financial institutions see you. So it's very important. So you want to know why you're paying 24% interest, 26% interest, 30% interest. It's because of your consumer profile. You know what I'm saying? They have a system in place to find out, your risk score. That's basically what it is. You know, how likely are you to pay back, right? So one of the most important things that you could ever do is pay your bills before they're due, or pay them at least when they're due, and have a paper trail. Pay by money order, right? Pay by check, something that you can track. So if there's any discrepancies, you can provide evidence, you can provide proof, and get whatever negative mark dismissed. Now, there's also a law for billing error, 1666B, 15 USC 1666B, and it ties into 15 USC 1637. So, on an open-ended credit account, you're not supposed to receive a late payment for any reason. But this doesn't mean that they don't do it. So this is why you got to get this consumer education. You got to become financially literate. You got to get your financial education up so that you can begin to challenge and dispute the inaccuracies, the things that they're not supposed to do, and get it removed. And this is not an overnight process. No one can guarantee any results. No one can tell you exactly how long it's going to take. But I say be willing to invest at least 9 months in yourself, right? To get a new mindset, to develop new habits, new behaviors around money and credit, to get the financial education, become financially literate, and at least get the basics and the fundamentals about credit. What is credit? How does it work? What does it cost? What are the positive consequences for utilizing it properly? What are the negative consequences for not using it properly? These are the things that you got to begin to look at and begin to appropriate and experience. It's just very, very important. All right. So to let you know that this is really important, the Fair Credit Reporting Act really hinges primarily on three things. It encompasses, it entails much more, but it basically calls for, it demands, it commands that reporting be fair, reporting be accurate, and that reporting be complete, right? So example, opening date, right? If on one report it says it opened on 7/1, another report says that it opened on 7/4, and another report says it opened on 7/10, which day did the account open? That's inaccurate. You can dispute that. And if they don't update it, correct it, you know what I mean? They got to delete it. They got to remove it. As simple as that, because the account couldn't be open on 3 different days. And see, the word accurate means exact in value. So either it's correct or it's incorrect. Either it's accurate or it's inaccurate. Either it's complete or it's incomplete. There's no gray area. So the Fair Credit Reporting Act is your partner to help you remove anything that's inaccurate, that's incomplete, that's unfair, that's discriminatory. And this is the way it works. The law is the law. It works the same way for every person. All right. So we just talked about that. All right. And so the disclosures, I need to really cover that a little bit more. So the disclosure in 15 USC 6802, I don't know why I got off track, basically tells you that you need to be informed, right? Clearly and conspicuously spelled out for you, with no mishaps, that you have the option to opt out. What does that mean? That means that you can choose to not have your information reported to the consumer reporting agencies, right? If you say, I do not want my information reported, because remember, it's non-public private information. So you may not want people to have your financial information. All right. So then when you opt out, they have to explain to you step by step what actions to take to opt out and not have your information, your non-public private information, reported to the consumer reporting agencies, so that you can do that and then your information is no longer reported. See, if number 2 didn't happen and number 3 didn't happen, they have to remove the negative mark. They have to remove the derogatory account. Whatever the case may be, you might just want the late payment removed, or you may want the whole account removed, and you have that prerogative to decide on that, and they have to remove it for violating your consumer rights. That's what it comes down to, you know. And so this is just a powerful law. It can remove anything off an account. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how long it's been on there. You may not get it done in 1 round. You may not get it done in 2 rounds. You may not get it done in 3 rounds. You may not get it done in 4 rounds. You may not get it done in 5 rounds. You may not get it done in 6 rounds. You may not get it done in the 7th round. It may take the 8th round. But the point of it is it has to come off. As long as you go to the end and you know that you've been violated and that it has to come off, it comes off and you can seek your remedy. That's what it is, right? The law is the law, and if they violate you, they have to remove it. That's the way it is. The next thing is 1681, 15 USC 1681 C. It says that they're not even supposed to be reporting adverse actions on your report. And this also ties into the exclusion section in 15 USC 1681, which states that transactions and experiences are not a part of a consumer report. And you can test this by, why do you think that on the free annual credit report, there's never a score involved? The reason that is because that's excess potential. That's extra. That's not the consumer report. The consumer report is the profile. What accounts are on your profile? Do you have a thin profile? Do you have a thick profile? How accurate is your profile? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the only reason that they're looking at this is, 1, to see how they can win, and then 2, how likely are you to pay back? How willing are you to pay back? That's all they're trying to find out. It's just a risk score. It's risk mitigation. You know, if they're going to take a risk on you, they want to minimize their potential loss. If they're going to take a risk on you, they want to minimize their potential loss. If they're going to take a risk on you and lend you money with no security, right, they want to minimize what they're going to lose. But at the same time, you know, it's risk and reward. If they take a chance on you and you have a low credit score, their risk is how many payments can they get from you with high interest. You know what I mean? They only make money from interest. You know what I'm saying? If you're not talking interest, you're not talking their language. If you're not talking interest, you're not talking their language. If you're not talking interest, you're not talking their lingo. If you're not talking interest, you're not talking their rhetoric. That's what it is. So getting in here and learning these consumer laws is a big deal, right? Something that will back up and support your disputes of inaccuracies, because they think that they can run over you. Matter of fact, they think that they're you, right? They're just using your information, your address, your phone number, your date of birth, your social, your email, and they're making money off of it, and you're not profiting at all. So when there's an error, you have a right to remove it so that you can get a better interest rate. This is what this is about. You got to learn to play ball. So you got to get in here. I'm strong on the basics and the fundamentals. You got to study to show yourself approved. You need to learn this information. It's just like information, just like you learn through school. But this information can profit you. This information can help you become successful. This information can help you build generational wealth. This information can help you build regenerational wealth. This information can help you leave a legacy, right? This information can give you a lifestyle that most only dream about. You know what I mean? That only 0.5%, 1% of the world will ever live, because everything is credit, everything is debt. You have to be able to have access to resources, to tools, to experts, and to money. If you don't have access, you know, um, you're denied um, a high quality lifestyle. That's what it is. So I'm just going to continue to reiterate, you got to become financially literate, right? You got to become financially educated. There's a difference. You need to get a consult to understand this. Then you got to get the basics and the fundamentals of credit, what it is, how it works, what it costs, what are the negative consequences, what are the positive consequences, so that you don't go get you a 740 score and then you go back to your old habits and behaviors and you right back in the same rocking the boat again, a year later. Um, if you want to drive a certain car, right, with credit, you can drive that car. If you want to live in a certain neighborhood so that your kids can go to high quality schools, um, credit can do that for you. If you want to be an entrepreneur and get financial backing to expand your business, to scale your business, credit can do that also. Credit is a very powerful instrument, a very powerful tool, um, a very powerful resource. You know, um, some of these people are lying to you. They're saying cash is king, but really cash flow is king. But cash holds, cash talks, you know, BS walks. Credit holds a powerful conversation. So I want you to clearly, and conspicuously understand the difference. With credit, man, you are empowered to succeed. You are empowered to profit. You are empowered to become wealthy. Without credit, you're destined to be poor. You're destined to be broke. You're destined to be destitute. You're destined to live in Struggleville. You're destined to live on Barely Get Along Street. You're destined to live in Grumble Alley. You're destined to be a victim, practicing victimhood, practicing a victim mentality. This is why you got to get educated, right? Become financially literate. Then get financial education. Test and experiment with the information. Get integration with the information, get implementation with the information, get appropriation with the information, get demonstration with the information, and then come into manifestation. Bring into fruition all that you desire to bring into fruition. It is possible. It is possible now. These are what learning this information, testing and experimenting with it, and committing, right? Commitment is either you're in or you're out. There's no gray area. If you're fully committed, you'll be consistent. If you're fully committed, you'll be consistent. If you're fully committed, you'll be consistent. If you're not fully committed, you won't be consistent. You'll be inconsistent. And anytime anything goes your way, you'll get discouraged and you'll go pouting. Oh, this don't work. Oh, they lied to me. They took my money. It's a scam. This, that, and that. This is why I'm saying learn this information for your own damn self, and then tell your story. No one knows your story. Every person's credit is a special and unique situation. You know what happened to you, right? You know whether you paid those bills or not. The point of it is even if you didn't, there still can be errors, and you can dispute it, and you can give them the opportunity to update it, to fix it. And if they don't, it has to be removed. It has to be deleted per the Fair Credit Reporting Act, right? It calls for fairness. It calls for accuracy. It calls for completeness. It calls for privacy. It calls for confidentiality. It calls for security. You can use these things to your advantage, right? So we've been live on Credit in Magic 3.6, talking about disputes, on errors on your consumer profile, consumer report, then how to get in there and learn the law that relates to your specific situation, and testing and experimenting with it, beginning to write your own letters to challenge these things, sending it by certified mail so you know the date that they got it. So on the 31st day, you can check your report because it may come back verified. Don't get discouraged. That's actually what you want to happen. So that if there's still errors after it comes back verified, well, did an investigation really happen? And it's supposed to be reinvestigation because the burden of proof falls on them. They have to prove everything. You contest it, and then they have to verify, right, with documentary evidence that this is true. If they cannot provide documentary evidence that this is true, it's got to be removed. It's got to be deleted. That's just what it is. Your score is going to go up. Now you're getting closer and closer to the hunt, getting closer and closer to your promised land. So commit to it. Be consistent. Study to show yourself approved. Get the basics and fundamentals of credit. Test and experiment with the information. Never, ever give up. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. You just got to stick with it. 6 months is coming anyway. 3 months is coming anyway. 9 months is coming anyway. 12 months is coming anyway. You messed up your credit for 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years, and beyond. Invest 9 months to a year in yourself, right? Because you are your greatest asset. Invest in yourself to repair, rebuild, and restore your credit, your relationship with money, so that you can live a higher quality of life. You can live your best life now. Peace.